the sky, pulled through time, through dust and flame. Every soul remembers why. Steel and shadow mark the ground. Every step a chosen fate. On the field where legends meet, we stand before the gate. Hear the echo of the drums below. Every heartbeat counts the same. When the signal hits, we let it go. No retreat, no shame. Summon to Valhalla, we fight, we fall, we rise. On the edge of every moment, with fire in our eyes. Summon to Valhalla, no fear, no turning back. One roll decides the future. On the edge of the attack. We rise tonight. Banners are waving, shattered light. Alliances of steel and bone. Every move a sacrifice. No one wins this war alone. From the jungle, from the stone, from the frost and burning sand, we were never meant to kneel, we were meant to stand. Every marker on the line, every choice we can't erase. When the dice begin to fall, fate reveals its face. Summon to Valhalla, we follow, we fall, we rise. Across the fields of battle, under broken skies. Summon to Valhalla, no fear, no turning back. One roll decides tomorrow. On the edge of the attack. Raise the power, feel it grow. Ancient forces breaking through. If we fall as one. If we win, we're something new. Legends aren't just born in flame, they're carved in dust and pain. When the silence finally comes, they'll remember our name. Higher, closer, now we ignite. Summon to Valhalla, we fight, we fall, we rise. Let the battlefield remember how we own the night. Summon to Valhalla, no fear, no turning back. From the dust we rise as legends on the edge of the attack. We rise. Valhalla.
Welcome to TOV Live. It is Valhalla time. We got ourselves a lore book, people. We got ourselves a lore book. And yes, as it says there, spoilers ahead. Welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday to all of you. To all of you who might be driving home or arrived home from your like your Heroscape. I know there's at least one tournament out there. Not terribly far away from me, although it still is probably like a 7-hour drive from me. in Pennsylvania there. Congratulations to the winners and the runner-ups and all those in that event that have been helping Warpig get to get as many people as possible. I think they nearly got to 40. So, and I think that was more or less the goal. So I think it was successful, and I'm very, very happy that the event went well without a hitch. So, and say Warpig, the first in the chat tonight, and with a, oh my goodness, $20 super chat. I think that is the first $20 super chat I think I've had in the history of this channel. So thank you so much, Warpig, for the donation. It says congratulations to Lord Zed in first place and everyone that made it to the Pittsburgh trial. Absolutely, 38 players. Yep, it was 38 players total. I think it was Lord Zed and Nobleman Nick who were battling for first. And yes, Lord Zed was able to come out on top. I think with a unique, not an Iron Lich, the Hellforged Manticore, I think, was buffered by the Crimson Twins, and I think that gave the edge. This is interesting. The combinations, the interesting combinations, especially from G.I. Joe, that we're getting for the competitive. So yeah, that's great. One Hellforge. Yep. One Hellforge. That is great. That is great. So, yeah, good news on that end. Good news on that end. And then on this particular end, well, I know I said last Wednesday I was probably going to do some painting, and we were going to go through the lore and the scenarios of the G.I. Joe stuff, which we'll have to table for another time, because, well, did a pre-order for the Heroscape lore book, because I figured might as well, because if I pre-order it now, it's relatively cheap. If I pre-order it now, I can get the free what is it? The free Agent Car that would come with the book, as well as this free digital download, which I could download last week, so I did. And so now we can read it. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's 200 pages of Heroscape lore. And he's currently not here, but Jeremy Unit. And here, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go here a second, because out of all the people who were in this group of people, I wish I could read all the names. Fortunately, I can't. You all can see the names there. But it says Lore Council right here. Jeremy Unit, William A. Wellman. But this is, and I'm sure if Jeremy were here talking with me right now, he would agree. This, in a lot of ways, is his victory in a lot of ways, because we had talked about like Heroscape lore, Heroscape story, backstory for like 10 years, close to 10 years. And I know he was writing stuff about even beyond that. And I'm sure this has been a labor of love for him, for everybody at Renegade. And I've just been cheerleading on the sidelines. I have nothing to do with this other than I've been telling on my streams, we need a lore book. Been since near the beginning. It's like we need a lore book, and so it's great. It's a triumphant just assimilation of all this, and it's a 200-page book too. The Tome of Annihilation, and I'm hoping this isn't going to be the last one, because we need more. We need more backstory, and I'm just going to show a bit of backstory to this. It's a lot to take in. Now, obviously, we're not going to read through all this tonight. Absolutely not. But we'll read through, and there's some that I really don't want to read through. I'll save that for y'all. But I do want to mention one thing. I'm going to just go real quick. I'm going to go to page 22. I'm going to go to page 22 because there's something very, very important I want to show before we even get started with reading the first page. I'm going to page 22 because there is something that is very, very important. We see Utgar there. And right here, on the bottom. And thank you, Bill Flint, for pointing this out last week, and then got me to realize, oh, I could download this thing. And now, hence, this stream is happening tonight. Master of Flame. It says about Ukar, okay? And it says right here, Ukar stole the lava stone of Volcaren, an artifact that makes him immune to vicious heat of lava flows and controls the legions of Volcaren's ferocious obsidian guards. He wears it at all times, but few know its significance. Ukar is not dead. He's alive. He might have been wounded, like a wing chopped off, but you can get a mechanical wing later. Hello, Retro Gamer 412. Welcome on the Twitch side of things. Ukar is alive. I've been saying it. I knew it. He wasn't even mostly dead. He wasn't even a bit dead. He was grievously wounded, and he is alive. And I called it from the beginning. And thank you. This is my run around the track. This is my victory lap. I knew it. I knew it. And there it is, right there. The reason why he's still out there. He's still out there. So I'm going to take that clip and I'm probably going to put that in Reels because that is my triumphant victory lap over that. All right, let's get back to the beginning of this, shall we? He's the Undertaker. Justin says, it won't be the last lore book Renegade teased, Secrets of the Citadel lore book when that era concludes. Of course. And, again, okay, so a lot of us were saying that this needed to happen. We need a lore book. We need more than just the game and, the minis. And even though that's all great, we need to really to build up the era of this game, and the lore book is the great step. We need more merchandise, though. It's like the t-shirt. It's like we need to have a merch store. Next is merch. I'm talking about coffee mugs. I know all that stuff is like, it's tough to get into, and like I said, this is a great first step. It might get into other stuff eventually, but it is definitely the best first step. Anyway, and Warpig I know was saying that for the army, it was saying 1 forge, 1 lich, 1 roly boys, 1 twins, and I think, hold on one moment, I need to check something. Okay, and it is Jeremy. If you can unhook your mic, because it's just the melodious sound of your voice is what's going to be heard tonight, and we can get you on board here too if we want to check your audio levels real quick live here. That's fine. All right, I can hear you, Jeremy. I can hear you. Sweet. All right, guys. All right. Again, this is breaking news. We've had breaking news, top breaking news tonight. But we do have, and I was just talking about you, Jeremy, a minute ago. We do have Jeremy Unit, one of the organizers of this book, on the stream with us. Jeremy, how are you tonight, sir? It's great. Oh, and wait a second here. I got to turn that desktop audio on so people actually can hear you. All right, say that again, sir.
I'm excited. Logic's finally out.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, to download. I don't know if they're shipping out the books yet, but it is available to download on Renegade when you pre-order it. So not only do you get the physical copy of the lore book, you also get it's like a good quality and a poor quality digital copy of them as well that you can download right away. And I think that was just available last week, I think. Yeah, no, it's great. And here, I was just reading real quick because I was talking about an event that happened in Pennsylvania. So Warpig was just, I think it was naming the winning army that won that event. So he's saying 1 forge, 1 lich, 1 roly boys, and 1 twins. Okay, those Crimson Twins, I guess they really buff an army. They really buff an army, so that's great. But no, Jeremy, glad. And Jeremy, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this because, like I was saying, like for like the past, I'd say like 10 years, we've been hoping and talking about some type of lore book, some compilation of a lore book, and I'm sure for you it was even earlier than that when you started like writing lore for Heroscape on Heroscapers. What are your thoughts on that? Because this is a victory.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm trying to remember. I want to say, is it September? I want to say, and this is the earliest memory I have of it, but me and William were definitely asking for it
Mm-hmm.
uh, pretty early on when we joined the team, because it was just like, you know, what our concern was is that, you know, this game has been around for so long, but we're trying to get new players into it, and, you know, trying to give a summary of all this information to new players is a little bit difficult. You know, I mean, some people might not be as committed to getting all the reference material because
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have to go into the old websites, you got to go into the Wikipedia, you got to go, you know, there's not very, it's not compiled, it's not something that can be accessed so easily, and, you know, aficionados can dig all the time. You know, people who are committed will go and get that information, but for the new players, that's not something they can just do. So from really early on, me and William were asking about it. We were just like, you know, hey, a lore book would give new players a chance to figure things out about the game, and, you know, figure out where we're going from or what we're doing. And I want to say Scott was on it like quickly. He was like, yeah, no, we definitely will do that. And I was like, whoa, what, really? And yeah, before we know it, plans were going for it, and everything got worked out, and here we are. So
Absolutely. And one real quick thing on the mic check, is the mic from your phone or is it your usual streaming mic?
that is a good question. I actually kind of just jumped on. I didn't see which one to attach here. Ah, oops, wrong one. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. Because I know some.
Is that
Ah, there we go. That
there it is.
that
Okay.
sounds better. So repeat what you said just a little bit in a nutshell.
I got you. Yeah. No, I didn't realize I was it was the wrong microphone. No, okay, so what I was saying earlier was that plans for the lore book started really early on when me and William got involved with the lore team because we were concerned about the lack of compilation. There wasn't really a source material that people could go to get
Mm-hmm.
caught up on the story, especially with something that's been around as long as Heroscape has. And we wanted to give people something, you know, easy to access, an information bank that they can, you know, catch up on the stories and find everything that they're looking for. And I know that there's stuff in the past, right? We talked about the old website, we've talked about Wikipedia, but it's not those aren't as easy accessible as for new players as a lot of people think. So when discussing Lorebook, that was one thing we wanted to do. And so when we got that in early, they were pretty they were interested pretty quickly, and we got those talks done pretty quickly, and here we are, about 2 years later. So
It's the realization of a dream, you know, that only
hmm
a few people had. So yeah, no, it's amazing. It's so good, and I can't wait to physically have it. And I know as soon as I get that in the house, my son is going to be like, "What's that?" And he's probably going to be the first one just to pour through it because he'll want to see the pictures, you know, and just everything else
yeah,
with it. Um,
the art's fantastic.
oh yeah, no, it's really nice. And we'll read through this in a second. I did want to say that I did kind of like a rant. Well, not really a rant. It was more like I told you so type thing. But Bill Flint pointed out this to me last week about Utgar, where it talks right at the bottom there of 22. Master of the Flame, Utgar stole the lava stone of Volcaren, an artifact that makes him immune to vicious heat of lava flows and controls the allegiance of Volcaren's ferocious obsidian guards. He wears it at all times, but few know its significance. That means he's alive, and I knew it. I knew it the whole time, and I'm so happy. And again, guys, for information, if you don't want to be spoiled, there's going to be spoilers galore tonight, more than likely. So if you want to hold out for those scenarios coming out in the next few months, I'll give warnings, and we're definitely not going to read those scenarios. That's one thing I'm not going to do. I want to be just as surprised as everyone else, even though I did skim them. Yeah, but there might be things mentioned in here that you might be like, oh, I wanted to wait for a few months from now. Like, okay, well, you've been warned. So let's see here. Retro Gamer is asking, will any of the Alliance War lore be in the book? Well, I think that will be for the, like, I think Justin was saying that Renegade has a Secrets of the Citadel lore book coming up after that era concludes. I don't know if Jeremy can confirm that or anything, but that's what Justin's saying. So I think there was a tease of that. But anyway, Jeremy, it's like also got a $20 super chat too from Warpix, which is awesome. It's the first $20 super chat tonight, so that's great. Tome of the Citadel, yes, is Warpix. Yeah, why not? All right. Well, Jeremy, how about we read through some of this? I'm gonna read the first, like, or not even probably this is the second page or the cover page. Actually, this is the back cover, I think. So it says, unlock the secrets of Valhalla. For centuries, the Wellsprings have called warriors from across time and space to the shattered world of Valhalla. Tome of Annihilation is the definitive companion to the Age of Annihilation era of Heroscape, collecting the stories and struggles that shape the battlefields of the Wellsprings. Within these pages, you'll discover character biographies, learn the histories, ambitions, and rivalries of the heroes and villains who fight for control of Valhalla. The Valkyrie generals explore the powers, legacies, and hidden agendas of those who command entire armies. Worlds beyond Valhalla travel to the diverse planets. This is great. I'm sure you had a hand in this, Jeremy. From which warriors are summoned, each brimming with its own culture, dangers, and mysteries. Official scenarios relive the campaigns and conflicts of the Age of Annihilation through story-driven scenarios to play at your table. Whether you are a longtime general or new to the Wellsprings, the Tome of Annihilation offers an essential guide to the lore, legends, and battles of Heroscape. Enter the saga, shape the legend, join the battle of all time. Yes! Exactly. So yeah, there's the Tome of Annihilation, Age of Annihilation. This is great, and it's like you said, you got all the orchestrators of this book, and again, Lore Council, Jeremy Unit, right there, which is great. Oh, so good. Thank you to everybody involved in this, and we got the table of contents list. And Jeremy, now tell us though, before we get started, tell us a little bit about what was your work involved in the making of this book.
So my main contribution was I helped compile the information, basically reviewing all the stuff that went into it, and was able to, cross-reference material. I went to great lengths to make sure the stuff that we were looking at was, legit, that we weren't, making things up, as one would say, or retconning or anything like that, or if we had to retcon, it was something that was, discussed among the team, things like that. And I mean, we didn't really have anything too difficult to change. There wasn't really anything changing. A lot of it was just getting that information in one place. And so we were able to get all that information and review it and put it in one place that was accessible. And William was the main writer behind it. And William, they took all the information that we gathered and compiled it into something that was readable. So it was fun. It was really extensive endeavor to be able to get all that information in one place.
Quite an undertaking.
Really exciting.
How long did it take to get everything out? Like for just starting, like hypothesizing ideas to the book.
I want to say it was about a year-ish.
I believe it.
Because we started working on everything last year, and making sure all that information was put together. And I'm trying to think of when exactly it happened, but yeah, because we started planning it in 2024.
Sure.
And then we were able to get everything together last year and compile it all together.
Now,
yeah, it was early last year. Sure. Year we were starting to compile everything.
Well, and I think like one of the biggest things that stand out to me, and this was already shown in the Valhalla timeline in the preview pages, but basically the Wellspring origins don't start with Thorman. It goes way back to where you have the original creators of the Wellsprings that we don't really know too much about. We might get to that tonight a little bit. But so it wasn't just collecting like bits and pieces of what was the Heroscape Foundation back in 2004 and onward. You had to think, okay, so the Wellsprings aren't going to start with Thorman. How much further do we go back? And I'm pretty sure that's going to tie into Secrets of the Citadel too, because the secret is probably the origin of the Wellsprings. Correct me if I'm wrong, or you probably can't say, but that is my guess.
It's a good guess.
Mm. And so, yeah, there's a lot here that's, and it's like, yeah, they got the artwork. Yeah, my son's just gonna love that. But with the Wellsprings now, I don't think it's going the way when it comes to Wellspring Origins that the Wellsprings really have like a character on their own, kind of like what Chris Nadeau was talking about, his thinking of what the Wellsprings were like, or what we're gonna be, when we were talking about that with him so many years ago. Yeah. I think it's gonna play. I think they're gonna play out a little bit differently than what he was envisioning. So let's see. Okay, yeah, Warpig, you can be right back. And Warpig has had a long day. But what else can I think to say with it? Well, again, Utgar, and these scenarios, and Thorman really, and spoiler, guys, again, this is gonna be spoiler night tonight. Thorman's the guy behind the pirates. Just saying. And one thing, how it's all coming together, and even though like Thorman. Well, this is an interesting thing because, okay, when it comes to, because I just read the scenario that was released this past week, and you basically can see, again, the regathering of not just like the original heroes that went into the swamps of Morrow so long ago, but you got others that are joining them as well. But it's basically that original team, and then others going back to the Wellspring where all this conflict started, basically, and you know, just whatever happens at that point, that's where it's kind of leading. You got Selnlin writing about saving Uller, and so I like seeing that part of the story get resolved. I think that was very important. I'm just like, when is this going to happen? And like, you finally seeing it happen. But it seems like almost that Thorman's plan to kind of like distract everybody while he goes to the Wellspring himself and does what he needs to do there kind of doesn't really work. Everybody finds out anyway and ends up going to the Wellspring anyway. So I think actually causing that quote-unquote distraction kind of did the opposite of what he intended. What do you think?
I think you're on the money. Following that story, and it's really important that the Valkyrie, or the ones that got hurt, right? They're getting their the resources are returned to them, because during the whole time dealing with the pirates and all the conflicts that are going on, it was Aquila's wizards that were trying to figure out the cure, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're able to conclude that part of the story. They're able to find the cure, and they're giving it to the Valkyrie that were struggling, because this whole time they've been poisoned. They haven't been able to use their visions. So yeah, it's turning up, because I think we got a few more months left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
Thorns Thunder's coming out next month, so that's gonna be pretty exciting.
Yeah, with the scenarios, I think, where were we at? Was it the Mired Cauldron or Ruins at Valcote? I'm not sure. We're at.
Yeah, the Mired Cauldron.
Yeah, okay, we were at the Mired Cauldron then. And so the next one will be Jagged Shoal, I believe, and then Thorman's Obsession, Confronting Thorman, and then the Shattered Table. So, and I'm just reading I'm not going to tell you guys, I kind of browsed it a little bit, but I didn't like read too much into it, but I kind of get the general idea, but I'm not going to spoil those right away. But yeah, they're already there. So if you again, if anybody wants to like pre-order said lore book, I don't know, when does it actually get officially out of pre-order, Jeremy? Do you remember?
I think it's in May.
Okay, it's in May. So you still have some time. Go link in the description below, because I do have an affiliate link down there. And there are some people who have graciously have used that over the course of the last month or two, which is great. And if you want to pre-order this and get a download right away of it, you absolutely can. Get yourself an aging car as well. So just stating that. But yeah, no, it's great that like you have all the battlefields and scenarios here. It's already mapped out for you. Even if you download them and have them on your computer, they're here in the book now for you to use whenever you want to. You got the character biographies there that we've already read through, so we already know some of those. But what we will get through, or just start with tonight, is looking at just everything here. I don't know how much I'm going to read tonight, but let's just start with the Battle of All Time here at page 5, and it says, "Welcome back to the world of Heroscape." I like that, like just insertion in. That's just basically a wave to anybody who's been, around for like the past 20 plus years now. From its debut in 2004, Heroscape captured imaginations with a premise as bold as its title, The Battle of All Time. It was a tabletop game unlike any other, with modular terrain clicked together into mountains and marshes, and the battlefield could be home to orcs, robots, knights, ninjas, anthropomorphic animals with guns, you name it, it's there. Heroscape's world was expansive and absurd in the best way, and its rules were approachable while hiding layers of tactical depth. It didn't ask you to follow a single story, it asked you to build your own. And that's what some of us did. For many of us working on this latest incarnation of the game, Heroscape was a formative experience. It was the game that introduced us to miniatures, strategy, and a community as imaginative as the game itself. For others, it was a long-missed opportunity rediscovered, something wild and wonderful that had somehow slipped by the first time, only to come roaring back with new energy. Whether through basements, kitchen tables, game stores, or tournaments, or an occasional stop-motion studio, we've all crossed swords or laser beams on Valhalla's battlefields. Now, after years of dormancy, Heroscape lives again. The Age of Annihilation marks the beginning of a new chapter, not a reset, but a continuation. It honors what came before while charging forward with new factions, new stories, and new possibilities. I'm going to pause for a second there. Jeremy, there is so much enthusiasm in this writing. It's just, it's got such a good beginning note. I'm reading this and I'm just getting like very, very enthusiastic about what I'm reading. So whoever is writing this is very, very spot on how they're describing things. In many ways, it's still the Heroscape you remember, a game where the theme is yes, and the answer to can we do that is almost always let's find a way. This book represents the lore foundation for this new era. It compiles biographies, story moments, scenarios, and mysteries, both old and new. It's a resource for the veteran who once combed the backs of booster packs for lore. This is someone who has had experience with this. And for the newcomer who just fell in love with the game after their first clash atop a plastic overhang. Bringing Heroscape back has been a labor of love for everyone involved. We are beyond thrilled to help shape its next chapter. The world is strange and sprawling, yes, but it's also deeply personal because it is shaped by every player who builds a battlefield, builds an army, and creates a new story of their own. We hope this book helps you do exactly that. The Heroscape team, Renegade Game Studios, 2026. And Warpig, Warpig says, Warpig, you got your physical copy, physical book? Great. So some of those early pre-orders are arriving in the mail already. That's great. All right. And it says part 1, the Battle of All Time. Anything to say for that, Jeremy? Because I know Warpig's saying, love the low-key shout out. Yeah. Anything you want to say for that bit?
No, I'm excited everyone gets a chance to get into the story. You know, there's a place that everyone can read it now.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, okay, no. Warpig's saying, no, it's Agent 2.0 card. Okay, gotcha, okay. Forget what I just said about the books arriving in the mail yet. They haven't. Okay, everybody just wait. All right, so part 1, the Battle of All Time. All right, your journey has taken you to the ancient planet of Valhalla in a distant sector of the galaxy. Valhalla is a world that was once serene and untroubled by strife, a place of varied landscapes. It features lush forests and commanding mountain ranges, stark deserts, and boundless oceans that hold the secrets of millennia. In a universe overcome by unrest, Valhalla seemed a sanctuary of peace. But that was before an asset of unimaginable value was discovered: the well springs. Like most glittering treasure of golden gems, these magical fountains were coveted. The well springs bestowed mighty powers on whomever partook of their crystal clear waters. The first mysterious wellspring was discovered by Thorman, a Kiri native to Valhalla. Thorman drank the waters of that first wellspring and found himself becoming stronger in body and mind. His wings grew massive as those of a condor. He gained mystical, clairvoyant powers and remained youthful, even as time passed. Yet Thorman soon realized that in order to retain these powers, he had to continue to drink of the wellspring often. And as he returned again and again, the frightening visions set in. Sometimes gifts of great value ironically came with a high price. So it was with the wellsprings. For Thorman and the other Kiri who drank of them were tortured with horrifying visions of strange warring armies on Valhalla. Thorman saw battles involving warriors and creatures not only from other worlds, but from other eras. Wanting no part of what he saw, Thorman relinquished his wellspring's power. But the evil Kiri Utgar was only emboldened by the might of the wellsprings and undeterred by their visions. As the Denzians of Valhalla came to know those with the wellspring's power as a Valkyrie, an evolved species of terrible strength, Utgar's nefarious ambition grew. His own tribe was not enough. He craved to rule alone over all of Valhalla, obliterating the other Kiri tribes as necessary. The relentless thirst for absolute power pulled all of the Valkyrie into a war that spread across every region of the planet. As this apocalyptic war on Valhalla raged and its scale expanded, the Valkyrie used the power of the wellsprings as astral portals to travel across time and space, enabling them to gather warriors from different worlds and epochs, bringing them together on Valhalla to wage war. Today, an eternal war rages across Valhalla. It is a bloody contest between the galaxy's mightiest warriors, monsters, heroes, and villains, collected from all time and space to decide the ultimate fate of our universe. Very well written, very well put. It's like it's basically the same description as what's in the original rule books from like the original master set, but it's just said a little bit differently, explained a little bit differently, and I think just gives a little bit more depth to it. And then the map. Here is the map. Okay, I'm just saying it's not as good as my map. Wait, hold on a second. Here, Jeremy. I don't know if you're watching the stream, but hold on a second. This might be a little delay, but it's not as good as the map I have right there. I colorize my map. Got someone working on that. For Tales of Valhalla, yep. That's a nice map. I'm just saying. But anyway, so we do have the map here, and we see what a lot of what has been covered already. Although you got the Bitter Sea, you got Hakeland there. So in general, it's what we see. I'm hoping again. I'll let that vehicle pass by. Hold on a moment. Everybody take a breath, take a drink. Retro Gamer saying they need to open the Wellspring portal to Angel Grove and get the Power Rangers involved in this war. Oh dear. That's Retro Gamer on Twitch. For those of you who might not be, who are like maybe listening on YouTube and like, where am I reading this from? That's where I'm reading it from. And so, yeah, and then all these numbers, of course, these are, I think these are scenarios, right? Or scenario locations, or, oh no, region. Okay. No, here's the legend right here. So, yeah, and some of these are probably areas of, some of them probably have to do with some of the scenarios, but so you know where locations are. Again, Upper Bleakwood, that's where Ukkar is. I always thought Ukkar was out in Utengard, but I was wrong. So it's there. And Lar is an area to where it's just totally like destroyed areas. Nostralands, where Jandar is. Ekstrom is where Ular is. So yeah, there's Volcaren. And Justin saying, I think Thorman's figure in person, his wingspan looks much larger than a Condor's. Oh, okay. But yeah, so that's the map. That's the legend. I'm not going to go through the bunch of it, but you can see our general area where everything is like in that part of the map. But we definitely need to have a more expanded map. I'm hoping for like a global map, someday. We need to stretch it out that far. And then let's read this. I think this is stuff that, now is this just rewritten? Is this what was originally in Rise of the Valkyrie here? The Thorman one? Where you have like the sketch of Thorman. It says, I am Thorman, Val is my homeland. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's just original. So I'm not going to read through that because that's already been said. But let's see what's here. According to the visions of the Valkyrie Jandar, any Valkyrie who collects the 15 Wellspring amulets. Okay, so we're still sticking with the amulets then. Right, Jeremy? Like a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So we're keeping the amulets. And for those of you who don't know, the Wellspring amulets will gain full control of their Wellspring visions and subsequently be able to control when and where in the universe they can open portals. For those, and that's for all the Wellsprings, basically everywhere. For those who have been summoned to Valhalla, this serves as their only hope of returning home, but some have darker ambitions for what to do with this power. So the amulets look like are still kind of in play. Each major wellspring has an underground chamber located nearby, which contains a series of 15 alcoves, one of which holds an amulet. Drinking of the wellspring's enchanted water allows Valkyrie to attune with the stone columns in the summoning chamber, using them to open physical gateways in time and space to wherever the water's visions guide them. It'd be cool to get actually like the like glyph versions of each amulet. That would be kind of cool. So you could actually end up collecting them. Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be nice. Instead of having the glyph of Brandar every time we have like something released with glyphs, is always the glyph of Brandar. No, it's like you got 15. Why not come up with names of like glyphs for the amulets? That would be cool. All right, Thorman's Discovery. Or pins. Yeah, we could do pins, but I take the glyphs. I take the glyphs because that way you can use it in the game. Wouldn't that be a nice quest? To actually do the 15 amulet type quest and gather the amulets and see who gets it at the end. Okay, Thorman's Discovery. The early history of Valhalla's winged Kiri is lost to time. Okay. Receding into myth and legend. For thousands of years, there were occasional conflicts between Arch-Kiri, the rulers of Valhalla's regions, as they vied for control of key vantage points and land for their people. But the Arch-Kiri had never seen a calamity the likes of which would be set in motion by Thorman's Discovery. Drinking from the water has dramatic effects on a Kiri. It significantly increases their wingspan and physical stature. It halts their aging to make them effectively immortal, and it can grant unusual powers such as telekinesis. The water gives the drinker frightening visions of other worlds, often focused on seemingly random warriors from distant planets and time periods. By channeling these visions while touching the ritual stones of a summoning chamber, a Kiri who has drunk of the wellspring's waters can open a portal to pull the warrior in their visions into Valhalla, often in the nick of time to avoid death and danger in their own worlds. Warpig Retro Gamers, Lord. I kind of figured that. Was the case. Let's see here. And there's Jandar's Wellspring. You know, it'd be cool to get like a physical terrain set of Jandar's Wellspring sometime in the future. That would be cool. And Retro Gamer, aka Lord Zed, in Twitch saying, "Wowie zowie bout man. This wellspring water is OP." Oh yeah. While some crevices of wellspring water have formed naturally as the enchanted waters work their way up from a deeper source beneath the surface, wellsprings that have a summoning chamber nearby seem to have been intentionally built and are surrounded by ancient monoliths. These were left behind by the mysterious civilization known as the... And Jeremy, I need your help with this. Okay, how do you pronounce this? What was that?
Oh, looking for where we're at.
Irilar? How you say that?
Oh, the Aralar.
Aralar! Okay, well, this is a new name, people. This is something new. Aralar. Okay. Mysterious civilization known as the Aralar. Little is known about these ancient people so far. But even greater, I added that so far, and because I know this is the I'm 99% positive this is the secrets within the secrets of the Citadel. But even greater constructions of the Iralar can be found buried beneath Valhalla's surface. Why did they build these structures? Why were the amulets and these powerful springs sealed away? Even the Valkyrie do not yet hold the answers to these questions. Baboosh! One thing is for certain, there are 15 wellspring chambers scattered throughout Valhalla, and in the wake of Thormund's discovery, the Kiri who claimed them in the years to come realized their power. They mastered the ability to open portals to other worlds and pull living beings through, changing Valhalla's landscape and the scope of its warfare forever. Were the wellsprings ever used in Valhalla's past? Although written records of Valhalla's early histories are hard to come by, some unusual artifacts that have weathered the ages serve as clues. A laser-guided grapple gun is said to have belonged to a Kiri explorer named Bleakwood, at a time when no Kiri could have crafted such a device. When Thorian, a Kiri hero of Takala, made his journey to Valhalla's mainland many centuries ago, he arrived with a katana that resembled Earth's blades more than Kiri-made swords of the time. Bleakwood and Thorian may both be gone now, but their artifacts leave questions as to whether Valhalla has had visitors from other worlds before. Okay, give me a moment, because we have to relook at that again. Because that is a lot. That is a lot. So, we get dun dun dun. Okay, there you go, Retro Gamer. I don't think I'll be able to cover all of it. We're already almost 15 minutes into the stream, and I'm just like, we haven't even scratched the scratch of the scratch yet of the surface. But yeah, okay. My assumptions, my thinking is kind of true with this. We're already asking these questions. Okay, the wellsprings obviously didn't come out of nowhere. They were built. They were made, which kind of makes sense, by the people called, and say it again for me, Jeremy.
The Aralar.
Aralar. Okay, Aralar. Now, were Aralar Kiri, or are they they're a precursor to Kiri? More than likely.
More on it.
Yeah, okay, we'll read more. Oh, okay, there's more. There's more. Okay. I guess we got to continue reading. Okay. There's more to read, so let me just read this, and then we'll get to it. All right. Try as he might, Thormund could not hide his discovery for long. Okay, so this is the rise of the Valkyrie. Soon other Kiri began to uncover well springs and the unprecedented power that drinking from them brought. While some did not understand their visions or attempted to use them as a way to learn about distant worlds, it was only a matter of time before a military application developed, using the wellspring summoning chambers to build armies of soldiers with weapons and abilities unlike anything Valhalla had ever seen. So far. Conflict erupted as Kiri fought. I added that so far. I felt like it needed to be said. Conflict erupted as Kiri fought to take control of the wellsprings and guarantee their continued ability to drink and sustain their powers, and Valhalla's serene landscapes were transformed into war-torn wastelands. A Kiri named Ukar, who was Arch-Kiri of the regions of Bleakwood and Upper Bleakwood, used his newfound power as a Valkyrie to summon legions of blue-skinned orcs from a distant world called Grut, and a fire-breathing dragon. He used his armies to invade the neighboring territories of Lar, Ostrovik, and Nostraland, ravaging through cities and slaughtering hundreds of his enemies. Those who wanted to stop his relentless onslaught were forced to turn to the very same magic of the Wellsprings, and so Jandar, the stoic Arch-Kiri of Nostraland, began to summon warriors from across the universe to fight back against Ukar's assaults. And this is, Taylord leads Ukar's army to burn the village of Stetchevon, which, of course, is the village of another well-known Kiri. Just saying, we kind of know who she is, but that's a nice image there. Ray, what are you saying, Warpig? No, that's Raylan. Yes, Raylan. Yep, exactly. The early days of the war were brutal, but not all Kiri who hoped to become powerful Valkyrie survived. As the first years passed, it became clear that several Valkyrie had risen above the others to wield influence, vast armies, and power against each other on Valhalla. While the Arch-Kiri from each region had once gathered in central Onstrom annually to speak about Valhalla's affairs, it was a cold gathering indeed that brought them together to officially recognize the 6 known Valkyrie: Thormund of Tayloron, Ukar, the Arch-Kiri of Bleakwood and Upper Bleakwood, Jandar, the Arch-Kiri of Nostraland, Ullr, the Arch-Kiri of Ekstrom, Vidar, the Arch-Kiri of Anun, and Einar, the Arch-Kiri of Linsfarm. It would take 10 years before they would ever meet again at the table. After the summit, the war began in earnest. Although alliances were made and quickly broken in those early days, an abiding friendship remained between the Arch-Kiri, Jandar, and Valkyrie, Ullr, until recently. Although they had risen to greater power than they had ever anticipated, their friendship stayed strong. As Ukar besieged Valhalla with a deluge of newly summoned armies, including the land-poisoning alien species called the Marrow, Jandar's wellspring visions told him that Ukar's thirst for conquest would not stop with Valhalla. He predicted that if Ukar conquered Valhalla and captured all 15 wellspring amulets, Ukar would use the power of the wellsprings to invade other planets, starting with the world called Earth. And we have someone else commenting in the chat. Hello, Roy Starpley. I'm just gonna say Roy. I think that's Starmy, I believe. It says Tales of Valhalla Valkyrie trial wrapped up today. Yeah, I was talking about it at the beginning of the stream. Thank you so much for your support in advertising it. You are I'm sure I helped just a tiny bit, but I'm glad you guys had a lot of people show up, and the outcome was great, especially for War Pigs group. So No, that's great. Glad I could help a little bit. All right, and so if you guys wanted to know sizes, this is the difference between a human, a Curie, and then a Valkyrie. There's some benefits, I guess, in drinking that wellspring water a bit. Now, question: what would happen if a human drank of the wellspring water? I'm just saying. Roy says, "Tales of every small bit helps." Oh, absolutely, no, and I was absolutely happy to do it. Anytime, guys, anytime. Valkyries are very close to a Primarch. Yeah, okay, Warhammer 40k lore. Yeah, I know. Primarchs are they're beasts themselves. And then again, this is Thorman. This is Thorman Journal. This is probably from Storm of the Morrow, probably, which I'm not going to read because time. And let's get into well, first, okay, let's go back through this. Okay. So one thing I want to say, and I'm just going to throw this out there for anybody, Renegade, maybe might listen to this sometime down the way, but when I was reading about this, Valhalla's Past, and we're talking about Thorian, we're talking about Bleakwood, some of these names are already etched into the land and into objects. Wouldn't it be cool to have, flashback scenarios and have actual characters, because there are strong hints that stuff happened before on Valhalla. The Wellsprings were used in some way, and maybe they were able to maybe there was a battle of all time that happened way back then, but they were able to seal the Wellsprings or do something to end that conflict. Wouldn't it be cool sometime in the future to have sets and scenarios and miniatures of these characters and other characters that they brought in at that time, and just have Heroscape, but in that particular moment in time with them? That would be kind of cool. I don't know how you call it. It would still be Heroscape, but it would be the Ages Past or something like that. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. I know we already have a lot of stuff. We're dealing with future events and events that are going to be happening. But that would be kind of cool to have just a look into the past at some point, in Valhalla's Past, and have those types of box sets. Why not? Talking about Battle for All Time, might as well look into the past as well. Okay. Anyway, so that was my overall thought on that initial bit of lore. Jerry, what do you think? What was your hand into crafting this bit of explanation? Because it's well written, it's well put together.
Yeah, we dug into a lot of the past story plots, and that's one of those things that was mentioned in the D&D era of Heroscape, was that there was a ancient civilization that had built the Wellsprings. They don't really do much more than say that's what you're finding when you're going into the place that they called the Underdark back in the day. That's what you're finding is proof of this civilization. So when we were discussing what exactly would be happening, we brought that up. The civilization, this ancient civilization, who are they? What did they do? Well, they built the Wellsprings. They built all the stuff that we're dealing with right now. So we got to elaborate more on that, and we're definitely going to be able to elaborate even more on that. And that's one of those intentions that are coming with Secrets of the Citadel. So fun stuff for the future to dig into.
If there's going to be whenever there's a Secrets of the Citadel lore book, oh my gosh, that's going to be just new stuff. Just that's going to be mind blowing. This is already mind blowing, but it's stuff we kind of already know, but it's just now compacted, and it's it's explained out very, very well. And hello, Bill Flint. And guys, just a quick shout out to Bill Flint there in the chat. He is the reason why we're doing this stream tonight, to be perfectly specifically honest, because I didn't even realize that after pre-ordering this thing that you could last week download this lore book. And so he was directing me towards it, and I did it, and here we are tonight. So thank you so much, Bill, for pointing that out to me. All right, so now let's look. Okay, we're gonna look at Jandar. Looking at Jandar, Stoic Archkiri Nostron. So that's what he looks like. He does look young, so yeah, definitely someone who hasn't aged. And you got the spear, very unique spear, and yeah, he kind of looks how you probably would imagine him. What a Chad. Okay, so Jandar's family. Let's see. Jandar's family has reigned as the Archkiris of Nastraland for generations. While Nastraland's icy northern slopes are fierce and inhospitable lands at first glance, Jandar's forebears saw opportunity in the frozen reaches. Nastraland has given rise to several of Valhalla's greatest cities, including the busy city of Valgrind. Jandar's fortresses in Nastraland are many, including Fortress Jandar, as well as the towering bastions of Idona Castle. Jandar's childhood taught him well the power of Valhalla's magical waters, and he discovered a fountain deep in Soul Razor Canyon in his youth, when there was still peace between Nastraland and Bleakwood. Interesting. So he remembers a time when House Jandar and House Ukar were actually at peace with each other, which is actually fascinating that that's put in there. Although he was unsure whether to indulge in the powers of the wellspring when it was discovered, after several of his cities were razed during a surprise invasion by the Valkyrie Ukar, he decided that becoming a Valkyrie would be the only way to repel Ukar's newfound hordes. Now, this is interesting, okay, Jeremy, because I don't know if you read J.J. Odin's book, The Wellspring War, but it's interesting that this paragraph, and I was going to read through this whole thing, but I have to just stop and recognize this for a second, because I don't know if JJ's listening or might be listening to this, but in his book, The Wellspring War, he does like a little bit of like backstory on Jandar, and like his character ends up discovering actually a wellspring when he is younger, but doesn't do anything about it. And if I remember correctly about the story, doesn't do anything about it until after Ukar starts destroying people and he starts using that power. So just that little like nugget in there, kind of whether it's intentional or unintentional, it does give a nod towards that, and it's definitely a fan fiction book, but it gives that nod whether intentional or not. I find that very, very interesting. I have to mention that to JJ too at one point. Okay, Jandar prefers to defend rather than strike. His region of Nastraland is renowned for the work of defensive smiths and forge masters such as the shieldsmith Kintar, which that's a new name. I haven't seen that name on the card. Who supplies the shields for Jandar's legion, and Kiri sentinels, and Girda, mother of Raylan, who devised defensive auras to enchant shields, spears, and artifacts. The Alliance, sensing that Ukar's use of the Wellsprings would lead to the destruction of Valhalla and many worlds beyond, Jandar entreated Thormund, who had enlisted as a scout in Jandar's army and was still a friend of his at the time, to embark on a journey to visit each of the other known Valkyrie on the mainland, Uller, Vidar, and Einar, to ask them to join him in an alliance against Ukar. Although Thormund's journey was perilous and he lost friends along the way, his journey was ultimately successful, and thus 4 Valkyrie were united against Ukar. They would soon be joined by a 5th, as the young Valkyrie Aquila rose to power in the southern jungles of Takala, away from the rest of the world, intent on repelling the spreading invasion of the alien Maro that Ukkar had introduced to Takala's swamps and jungles. Aquila joined forces with the Alliance to stand against Ukkar's onslaught. So we're just getting, basically, we're learning everything leading up to Age of Annihilation, which is great. Mm-hmm. That's a period of history that we just didn't know too much about in between Discontinued and, Age of Annihilation. So the Alliance remained intact for the better part of a decade, although it fractured over time until a decisive end came when a peace summit was held at the previous meeting place of the Council of the Arch-Curie, the plateau known as the Table in central Anstrom. Due to the outside interference of a vengeful group of pirates, the peace summit collapsed, and the Alliance along with it, as Valhalla entered a new age of annihilation. Even after this, Jandar chose to focus on protecting his people, withdrawing his soldiers from across Valhalla to take up defensive posts at Nostraland's borders and wait for the storm to pass. Unbeknownst to him, but beknownst to us, the storm was just beginning. All right, I'm going to go back here to this page. So, and that's one of the main reasons why Alar is kind of ticked at Jandar right now. Just saying, because that was in the scenario released last week. All right, I'm just going to read these little excerpts. A mighty warrior, Jandar can hold his own in combat. He was the previous wielder of Sergeant Drake's Katana of Thorian, and used it to single-handedly hold off Ukkar's hordes at Nastraland's revered Willenshire tombs in the early days of the war. I know we're getting like likenesses of these Valkyrie generals. We're starting to learn about like their potential abilities. I know it's going to be sooner or later down the line. We got Thorman. We're gonna get more. I say that with like 100% certainty. We're gonna get more, and I say that I don't know. I just have that feeling that we're gonna get more miniatures of these guys, which for me is great. Okay, Wings of Steel. Jandar smiths have accomplished feats of metalwork that defy explanation, including crafting enchanted wing armor that allows Jandar and his Curie to fly while keeping their wings fully enclosed within protective plates. And we've seen some of those already in the past. And then we have some of the heroes here. Raylan, the Curie warrior. Jandar hastened to the city of Stetchavan when he heard that it was under attack by an army of strange blue-skinned beings led by warriors from Kyrian mountains. He found the city in ruins, but in the rubble discovered a crimson-winged young Curie named Raylan. She was the daughter of Gerda, the Forge Master, and a close friend to Jandar's family. Her father, Dalgard, had been put to death by Ukkar's right-hand commander, Taylord. Even though she was young, Raylan swore to bring Ukkar and his armies to justice. Jandar took Raylan under his wing, and over the following year taught her how to fight, before eventually entrusting her with the Spear of Gerda to use in battle. Raylan became one of his strongest warriors, although her mission to bring Ukkar to justice would ultimately lead her away from his ranks on a path of her own making. And then we have Sergeant Drake Alexander. The day that Jandar chose to become a Valkyrie and drink of the waters, he was bombarded by visions of warriors fighting on distant worlds. He summoned as many as he could, plucking them from the verge of death on their own worlds and transporting them to Valhalla, and gave each the same explanation, that his home was about to be destroyed and he needed their aid to save it. Of all those Jandar summoned in his first tireless session in the summoning chamber of Kalios, is that how you say that, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay. Few have supported him as staunchly as Sergeant Drake, a young man plucked from the trenches of France during Earth's Second World War. Drake stands fiercely against any who would employ cruelty to mold the world in their image, and he fights for two reasons. Numero dos. To prevent Earth from someday falling under Utgar's rule, and to win the war on Valhalla so that Jandar can return him to a very different battle where the lives of his brothers in arms are still on the line. Okay, I'm taking a drink. All right, so backstories of 3 characters actually here for Jandar. And then I know next is Ular, or Ular, however you say it. But I also know that, let's see here, it's 9:51. I'd say I probably want to go for another 20-25 minutes, and I really want to go to Utgar, because I think that's important. Even though he's kind of like last, I think he's almost last in line. No, kind of almost last in line, but I want to skip to Utgar, because the Jandar Utgar thing is kind of important to see. So, I kind of want to do that, and if Utgar is the only one we're able to cover for us tonight, then we can get to the other Valkyrie generals on Wednesday. And I don't know if Jeremy's going to be able to join me on Wednesday, but either be me or I might bring on someone else, maybe Battlebrow if he's available. But we're gonna do Utgar. Anything you want to say about Jandar though, Jeremy, before I move on to Utgar there?
So I do want to say the Wellenshire Tombs reference. Very old reference. It was a very small subsection that was available on the first website before they got rid of the first website, where they mentioned that. And I remember discussing with the team to put as much as that little information as we could into some of these headings. And I'm just excited that's in the book now, because it's like 15 years later. That is, and like no one's gonna know that. They're gonna read that and be like, oh, that's cool. But it's like I'm reading that, I'm like, man, we brought back this old lore from the website that no one remembers. But yeah, there's gonna be there's a lot of those little things,
nuggets,
and we got this to put into the text, which is really cool. So I hope everyone enjoys, and try to see if you see any, like if there's any little references that you might have questions, like, is that from? It's like, yeah, most likely we got that from the old website. So,
and well, that's probably one of the reasons why they brought you on board, Jeremy, because you kind of know that you have a treasure trove in your mind of things that's like they really need to get out. So yes, you are very valuable to this for sure. All right. Utgar, brutal Archkiri of Bleakwood and Upper Bleakwood. There he is, with both his wings currently, but I think he lost a wing. Okay, so let's read this. Wait, how long is this? Okay, yeah, so it's 2 pages as well. So let's start this. The legends of Bleakwood's Carrion Mountain clans hold that thousands of years ago, Mitten Soul, one of the how do we say that again? Irolar?
The Airlar.
Airlar. Okay, I need it to not E, it's air. Okay, not E. Okay, Airlar. So again, Mitten Soul. So Airlar feel to me like they're a precursor to Kiri. Maybe not entirely Kiri, but they're like a precursor. So we have Mitten Soul there. So again, these characters, names that we've seen in previous bits of Heroscape, are being like rediscovered. Again, it would be great to have like someday like a master set of the end scenarios of Precursor. Once we find out the history, and we just travel, a little bit back in time, and see these see the conflict that happened back then. Anyway, was cast out from her kind and for her craft and ambition. The legends say that she made the burning peaks of the Kyrian Mountains her home and forged a clan of her own. All that remains of Mitten Soul are several cursed artifacts, a coliseum that sits on bubbling pools of lava, and stories of blood and flame passed down through generations of Kiri. It was this harsh environment that Utgar was born. The tribes of the Kyrian Mountains prize strength above all else and use combat as a way to hone it. Utgar grew up from a young age fighting for his life against his own brothers in Mitten Soul's Colosseum, and it forged him into a brutal leader and conqueror. Even before the well springs were rediscovered, he had united many of Cirian's clans with demonstrations of his brutality, and the Ciri of Bleakwood and Upper Bleakwood pledged their support for him as Arch-Ciri. When he discovered a wellspring hidden in the mountains, he drank eagerly of the water and quickly realized the power that it promised. A way to muster more power than his Ciri warriors alone could ever wield, strength that could reshape Valhalla itself. He carefully handpicked his generals and summoned thousands of blue orcs from the planet Gret to rally under his banner before leading them in bloody surprise invasions of Lar and Nostraland, shattering Valhalla's peace nearly overnight. Amazing. And then, important things, on leathery rings. The Ciri of Bleakwood tend to have large wings of tendon, membrane, and bone rather than more flammable feathers, and come in a variety of colors, including red, blue, beige, and purple. If anybody's painting things, you go. Eventually we might get we need to get more Ukar-Ciri, like the minions, like different versions of minions maybe. It'd be kind of cool. Okay, and then this is the all-important thing. This is my bit. This is my year. This is made my year. Master of Flame. And I read this at the beginning. I'm going to read it again. Ukar stole the lava stone of Valkaren, an artifact that makes him immune to the vicious heat of lava flows and controls the allegiance of Valkaren's ferocious obsidian guards. He wears it at all times, but few know of its significance. Victory, victory. Utgar is not dead. He's not even mostly dead. He is not dead at all. He got severely injured. I think he got a wing hacked off. So I'm interested to see a Ukar with like a metal wing, or like a regrown wing or something like that. I don't know. He ain't dead. He is not dead. He's not been burned up by lava, because that was people's big argument. Oh, he was thrown into lava. So, and that was my retort. Now my retort is this: he is absolutely alive. And I couldn't be more happier, because it would be a huge waste of a character if they decide to do that. So I'm glad. It's going to be interesting to see where he rises up in the future, for sure. Anything you want to say about that, Jeremy? Because I know that's something you probably had to keep mum for a while. Just that. Not saying that he's dead or he's going to rise, but just that bit of information about the lava stone of Valkaren. That's new. I hope that's a glyph sometime.
It's referenced in the Valkaren Wasteland set. That's where the information comes from.
Okay. It's a great bit to put in there, because all of us Ukar onlyists, I guess I can say, we are satisfied now. Bill Flint, he's -1 wing and coming back with a lava wing. That would be actually, a lava wing would be awesome, Bill. That would be, yeah, I'd go for that. Retro Gamer says he's going to decide to cut off the other wing and replace them both with wings of pure fire. I take that too. I definitely take that too. All right, Ukar characters. Using beings from other worlds as fodder in massive armies in this way was unprecedented. In the early days, Ukar reigned supreme. His legions of alien Maro soldiers polluted drinking water to force enemies out of their lands and multiplied rapidly, allowing them to establish power through sheer quantity of soldiers. He began secretly growing Maro hives in the southern jungles of Tekala to ensure his armies prospered. An invasion with which the 5 other Valkyrie would have joined forces to hold at bay. Worlds beyond Valhalla. Like other Valkyrie, Ukar's visions granted him warriors to summon. However, his ambition for expansion knew no bounds, so he was fascinated by the worlds they were summoned from. Worlds full of resources and rich with life, ripe for the taking. The wellspring showed him a path to the power he sought. It would require wresting all the Wellsprings from the Elder Valkyrie and taking command of all 15 of the Wellspring amulets in order to gain perfect control over his visions. It was a vision he was willing to pursue at all costs. So now this gives motive, because we never really had much motive for Utgar. Just like bad guy doing bad things was basically the motive. But I like how like his desire for what the Wellsprings provided, and if you get more of them, you can get more things to basically, still purely take over. You don't have a full backstory of like, oh, he was teased when he was a child, and so he hates everybody because of it. You don't have that, but it does establish a better foundation for why he's doing the things he's doing. Any thoughts, Jeremy, on that?
That's a really good opportunity to highlight his purpose in the war.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was one intention when we were crafting these character entries was, their ambitions. What exactly got them into the fight and stuff like that. That's what we discussed. And being able to really put it down it's nice. It's nice to see on paper now.
For sure.
People can kind of get into it.
It at least it makes the best out of what we were given from 2004 to 2010. I'd say that. Mm-hmm. It helps, complete a circle as best as possible. Okay, and we got Leviatak, the Kiri warrior. Leviatak of the spined armor is a brutal warrior who has risen quickly through Utgar's ranks. She wields the legendary golden axe Gulux in battle to inflict deadly strikes upon his foes. However, Leviatak's ambitions run deeper than Utgar knows. She was not content to be a pawn in Utgar's schemes and resented him for burning through the resources and the people of Kirian with a decade of ruthless war. Okay, now this gives Leviatak a little bit of backstory. So, meaning she's not all bad, I guess. I mean, she's still like I think she's still a bad guy, but she's thinking like, I wouldn't do it how he's doing it, basically type of thing. She carefully constructed a secret plan to overthrow Utgar and claim his throne, and to point both the clans of Kirian and the Offworlders under his banner in the direction of her own making, even if it meant challenging her own father Taylord, who is Utgar's right hand. She was not alone in this effort, finding a surprising companion to help her, Raylan the Kiri warrior. Her successful ploy now sees her seated on the throne of Utgar and the head of his many legions of Kiri and Offworlders alike. Yeah, Warpig says, she's bad, not evil. There you go. Mm-hmm. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way, Raylan, the Kiri warrior, mind-shackled. But not mind-shackled, actually. Many of Utgar's followers utilize mind control as a way to get what they want. No kidding. And the Mara war witch Kimoshi is among the most notorious. A constantly reviving menace of those enchanted amulets to control her victims, Kimoshi successfully turned Raylan the Kiri warrior against her friends once, and attempted it yet again when they fought next on Valhalla's battlefields, convinced that she could warp Raylan to her will. This time around, Raylan found herself more resistant to the alien witch's control, and a daunting new possibility occurred to her. If she could act as if she served in Utgar's ranks, she might be able to work her way through his inner circle so that she could reach Utgar himself. She could finally make him pay for the destruction of her city and her father's death. She joined Utgar's ranks once again, leaving behind Sergeant Drake and her Spear of Gerda along with him. In the dark period that followed, she wrought havoc and bloodshed under Utgar's banner, but later found herself working side by side with Leviatak and undermining Utgar's rule. So the ends justify the means, apparently. In a climactic showdown outside his throne room, Raylan and Leviatak defeated Utgar, striking off one of his wings and casting him down to his apparent gloom and doom in a pit of molten lava. Leviatak is now seated upon Utgar's throne, and Raylan works with her to preserve a tenuous force between Jandar's forces and Utgar's armies. Yeah. So, and then we have this little bit. A terrifying beast, Freya, the Manicore, was a former pit beast in Mittensoul's Colosseum until she was repurposed as Raylan's steed when Raylan was mind-shackled once again. Some say Freya has killed almost as many in the ring as Raylan has on the battlefield. Now, this is one thing that, okay, I know Raylan's intentions, like we get a good bit on like Raylan, why Raylan did what she did, but for me, the ends justifies the means. Who knows how many like supposed allies she probably killed in order to get to Ukkar type thing. For me, and it's okay if I disagree with a potential story plot. It's fine. It's okay. It doesn't mean that it's like, oh, all of a sudden I hate everything. But I don't like the ends justifies the means to a hero, because that can it really just underscores what they were about to the first place. Obviously, it sets her on a path. I'm just hoping that if there is a further storyline with Raylan, that these choices affect her in the outcome, because if she is someone who is has lost redemption in some way because of her actions, yes, to get what she thinks is her revenge, which she should never pursue revenge in any type of storyline. Sorry, you've shown it. But there needs to be some type of story arc for redemption for her, to where if she presented with this situation again, would she do the same things that she did before? Because there's just certain paths you don't travel down as a hero, and this is one of these paths. So it's going to be interesting, because I know we're seeing like just this story kind of unfolding to where you're not seeing the end. So I'm gonna give that bit of grace to the story. But as far as it's set up right now, I hope there's more to this character arc than just this. Jeremy, what do you think about this just tiny rant about me with this story?
No, that's a lot of people were not expecting her decision to, conceal the fact that she wasn't fully. The mind shackle didn't work, but she used that as a way to get into the inner ranks. Mm-hmm. And if you remember in
opportunity seized, I guess.
Yeah, it was a scenario 12 where she writes a letter to Jandar, mm-hmm. saying she can't even apologize because what she was doing, she thought it would serve the greater goal. So there's still, she's her conviction is that what she did served, the intention to actually help end the war. But like you said, I mean, obviously there's probably going to be consequences of that. Mm-hmm. For instance, Irene doesn't trust ever.
Right.
Irene, and who else in the new alliance that they're going to be trying to build? Who else is going to be opposed to her because of what she did? That's stuff that's going to be coming up in the future, because she's trying to build the new alliance. Will people trust her for what she did prior to that? That's the kind of stuff that the new alliance is going to have to deal with. And so, the story is ongoing.
It's not, for sure.
But this was one decision she made, and we're going to see the impact later on mm-hmm. as to what that affects.
She's tainted. She touched darkness, basically. You can mm-hmm. put it that way, to where, and once you start doing that, it's like, once you go down the dark path forever, will it dominate your destiny? But there is one saying, you need to really turn. You need to make a sacrifice and turn. I actually liked, because in the scenario where they face Ukkar, there's two visions. One where they beat Ukkar, which is the one that we're going with, but there is also another vision of Raylan destroyed. And when I read that during that scenario, during that stream, I thought, it would be actually interesting to explore what would happen, like future onwards, if Raylan was destroyed in some way and Ukkar reigned. And yes, there's like more darkness in Valhalla. How are we going to, survive without Raylan? Where would that lead to? So it was interesting to me to think that, there was two sides of this coin. Well, obviously we went to one side, but where would that other half of that coin lead?
Right.
So it definitely piqued my imagination. But anything else to say about Ukkar here?
It's excited that we got his information out there. His intentions in the war, and kind of what led to his downfall, because his ambition was so great. What he wanted to do and what he wanted to conquer, he was blindsided essentially by his own lieutenants.
Well, he was also poisoned too. He was in a poison because somebody poisoned the water hole, and it wasn't Thorman. It was Leviatak herself, based on a scenario that I kind of animated. Where she acquired the poison to poison his wellspring water hole. And if it wasn't for that, they probably wouldn't have had the edge to defeat him as they did. Although, again, for Ukkar, this is probably just a small hiccup, because I know Jeremy can't say anything, but he ain't dead. He ain't dead. Just saying. And I want to see, like, I think out of all, like, Thorman's really cool to have, a unit version of him, but I really want me a Ukkar unit, like a battle bus Ukkar unit that I'm just like, please give it to me. But we'll wait. Maybe he can be commanding more lava monsters too from that. That would be cool. But anyway, okay, Ukkar. So that's taking a look at Ukkar. Now let me go back here, because we might have time for just one more. That way there's less to do on Wednesday. Ullr. Let's go to Ullr. So we went to Jandar's worst enemy, to Jandar, up until recently, his best friend. Ullr, however you say the name, a loyal Archkiri of Ekstrom. Ullr's family have been loyal friends of Jandar's for decades, but Ullr's noble house did not inherit respect from the tribes of Kiri that dwell in Ekstrom's vast forests. That he had to earn on his own. Although many of Ekstrom's tribes of hunters and rangers were skeptical about answering to any Archkiri, Ullr's long visits to their camps and gentle nature slowly won them over. After several decades, most of Ekstrom's forest clans have come to unite under Ullr's banner. In the early days of the Valkyrie's rise, Ullr discovered his own land of Ekstrom was home to one of the largest well springs ever discovered, one which would come to be known as the Wellspring of Obsession. It was hotly contested by his own militias as well as other Kiri hoping to lay claim on the spring. Nevertheless, he was able to fortify the surrounding land and drink of it himself. The water granted him visions of elves and strange green vipers fighting for their lives on distant worlds. Summoning them to Valhalla gave him much-needed battlefield forces to defend Ekstrom against Utgar's legions. The Alliance. When Thorman came on Jandar's behalf to ask Ullr to join an alliance against Utgar, Ullr was already firm in his choice. Look at him. He's kind of like, he almost looks kind of elven anyway. Kind of. He's got that look that this is the guy that kind of understand elves. Uller was already firm in his choice, from playing on the shores of Ekstrom as boys while their parents paced the sands and talked of the matters of the Archkiri, to attending court as two young nobles, their friendship solidified. The day that the alliance was established, Uller sent reinforcements to Nasterland cities to save them from total collapse. His giants, elves, and vipers quickly turned the tide against Utgar's invaders. Uller's trust in the power of their alliance never wavered until the weeks leading up to the peace summit when, unbeknownst to his guards, but beknownst to us, pirate invaders secretly entered Ekstrom and administered the pernicious poison to the wellspring of obsession. The Valkyrie gone mad, while Uller weathered the poison's physical ails, its psychological effects on him were devastating, enhancing his fear and paranoia and clouding his wellspring-induced visions with terrible alternate futures. He became impossible to reason with, and his diplomats at Valhalla's Peace Summit, Sonlin the Archmage and Tamin the Hunter — we don't have a Tamin yet, do we? I guess we need one.
No, we don't.
Could not avail him to trust even his old friend Jandar, let alone tenuous new acquaintances such as the ghastly Valkyrie Revna. Uller's outbursts were only one factor that led to the summit's collapse, but they shattered the relationship he had with Jandar and plunged even the closest members of the alliance into open conflict. In the weeks that followed, Uller's commands to his followers were clear. Even as Jandar retreated to within Nasterland's borders, Ekstrom would expand theirs and grow out of Jandar's shadow into a fierce power on Valhalla. And we got Sonlin. The elven archmage Sonlin was one of the first summoned by Uller to Valhalla and found himself in the company of many important wizards from Phalan's past ages. As an archmage, Sonlin is a studied expert of magic and took on the challenge of raising the young dragonling Velsa. During Valhalla's Age of Annihilation, he set out on a journey to cure Uller of his madness in defiance of his ruler's orders, and at the risk of exile from Ekstrom forever, he set out on a journey to cure Uller of his madness in defiance of his ruler's orders, and at the risk of exile from Ekstrom forever. There we go. In the wake of the historian Thormund's disappearance, Sonlin was taken to chronicling Valhalla's events in his own ledger, compiling dozens of written accounts from the war in an attempt to preserve Valhalla's stories for the next generation. Melki and Ziamara, the Kiri warriors. And as Uller's madness worsened, his commanders, Melki and Ziamara, were forced to choose between following his orders to exile his loyal follower Sonlin, or risk disobedience. Ultimately, they chosen to comply with Uller's commands and went to militarize Ekstrom, hoping it would ensure Ekstrom's well-being regardless of the poison's final outcome. However, they did send Sonlin away with their blessing in hopes that his mission to cure the wellspring poison would be successful, and continued to send messages in secret, waiting for him to return with a cure in hand. All right. And let's read through this. Okay, an inventive enchanter. Uller was particularly affinity for designing the traps and mechanisms, and his personal troop of protectors wield crossbows of his own design. Yeah, you know how difficult it is to get those type of protectors? Power to you if you have at least one original copy of protectors. He has even been known to tinker with some of the ranged weapons off-worlders have brought with them in order to enhance their range and power. So that is him, the tinkering lover of elves, Uller. Anything to say about Uller, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's, the art, is really good. They based it off of that small sketch that was in Thormund's journal. So, getting a lot of the profiles set up was really cool, and just a little backstory on him, how he united the forest tribes, got them under one banner, so they would work together, only for him to go mad, and then they kind of trying to have to figure out what to do without his guidance. But as we know recently, now he's good to go. So
I like how, and Retro Gamer there on Twitch is mentioning Sonlin is the Frodo Baggins of Heroscape. Actually, more like the Bilbo Baggins. It was Bilbo Baggins that chronicled things more than Frodo. Frodo just took Bilbo's place after Bilbo was just like, I can't do. I'm too old to do this anymore. You wrap things up, Frodo. This boy went on a perilous journey and documented the entire thing. Yeah, Sonlin does have that type of character trait. And what's interesting too, I like when it comes to Uller's armor, it reminds me of Lothlorien in Lord of the Rings. It reminds me of that type of elven armor, which is really cool. Of course, it's the same type of armor you see in like in the other Kiri squads that we have as well. So yeah, that's taking a look at Uller then as well. And Jeremy, I don't want to be too long because we're getting close to 10:30. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, this might take, guys, this isn't going to take just 2 streams to get through just the things I want to read. Not the entire book, but just things I'd like to read through. This might take 4 or more streams to really get through this.
It's pretty stuck.
Oh my goodness. It's so good. But one thing I did want to just browse through while you're here with us, Jeremy, is like the planets. If there's anything you want to point out at the moment for the planets, so you even got the Crimson Fleet. You got so much, but if there's anything like you want to point out that comes to your mind when you were like helping with this book, anything about like the planets, because I know we were big. We talked about planet history when we were like crafting Tales. We were talking about a lot of this when we were making Tales of Valhalla. And I know the planets and the background of the planets were very important to you. Is there anything that stands out to you about these that you'd want to read about now that we have you here on stream?
I mean, we got, so I want to say Mar had a lot of history that was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Prime had a lot of history that was already there. But Grut, that was one that didn't have much of anything. The Orc planet, they didn't really talk about that as often as the other worlds.
Guys, look at this freaking dinosaur here.
Yeah, and,
wow.
And of course, that was one of the things. One of my very first hyperfixation as a child was dinosaurs. So being able to talk about dinosaurs or have a planet full of them is pretty exciting. But yeah, the Grut has lore now, as like an extensive background history that you can refer to, and just as much as the other worlds.
Wait, look at that walking city. Oh my goodness! Welcome to Jurassic Park. No, okay, this is Jurassic Universe.
Yeah.
All right. Let's read through this then, because let's just give it. I'll try and remember things I've covered.
I got you.
But Grut, let's read it. Okay, Grut is a world ill-suited to supporting life at all, and yet life finds a way to continue. Grut's orbit around its star is severely elliptical, causing periods of intense heat as Grut passes close to its star, and then periods of chilling cold as the planet reaches its furthest distance from its sun. This causes the surface of Grut to exist in a constant flux between scalding hot temperatures and intense ice ages. Some of Grut's wildlife, such as the massive dinosaurs that dwell on its surface, live best in the hotter climates, but cold-loving mammals such as mammoths and saber-toothed cats, called swags, thrive the best in a frigid environment. For all who live on Grut, however, staying alive means constant migration in order to keep living in the zone where Grut's temperatures are not extreme enough to kill all that lives. In Grut's early history, the blue-skinned Grut orcs that lived there adapted by taking advantage of Grut's beasts to travel in migrating packs. As time went on and Grut's technology advanced, they would supplement their beast labor with other, more inventive solutions to weather Grut's extremes. So we have a long path. Grut's orbit around its sun takes a long time that a single year on Grut is equal to 103 Earth years. Okay, yes, that's a long orbit. Whoa. Walking cities. This is, wow. What are we in for, people? What are we in for? This is like the concept of stuff in the future. Holy moly. Walking cities. To better combat the eternal hot and cold cycle that threatens all life on Grut, Grut inventors have developed clockwork cities that walk across the surface of the planet on mechanical gears, allowing the city to remain in the safe zone of Grut's temperatures all year round. And there's actually like similar different things like this in science fiction as well. So it's nothing new, but it's really cool that this concept is realized for this particular planet in the lore. Beast keepers, orcs of Grut have forged bonds with the dinosaurs and Arctic animals that call their world home. In addition to riding them into battle, these massive creatures play a role in every aspect of Grut society. Look at these big guys. Oh, do you want more? Do you want more? We're probably going to get more. This is a setup, guys. What was that quake? Nah. Just the city. Just hit a sand dune. The evolution of Grut. To survive on Grut, its orcs have had to constantly find new solutions to weather the bitter extremes of the environment, lack of food, rival clans, and other dangers. So it's cool that we're seeing... So what we have so far in these releases, these Grut squads that I currently actually have... I have on my table, priming them up right now. This is just one clan, then, right, Jeremy? I'd say that right?
Yeah.
So there's other clans of Gruts, then, that could be taken to Valhalla. That's my guess. That's what I'm pulling from it. I'm just saying. Mortal Engines, yeah. That there was that movie, yep, for sure. So yeah, lots of examples. Okay. Where was I? Okay, I interrupted myself. Okay. Lack of food, rival clans, and other dangers. Over a few thousand years, their technology rapidly progressed from riding bareback on raptors, which we all love, with weapons made of stone, to lashing carts with round wheels, to a Styracosaurus, and I know that because my son's into dinosaurs, to forging metal armor, to building elaborate ironworks. In time, Grut's bounty of natural metals provided ample resources for building machinery, large constructs of grinding gears, levers, and pulleys, showcasing the ingenious nature of Grut inventors. Grut's inventions, such as chain axes, are utilitarian. I'm sorry, I can't say that word. Jeremy, can you help me out? System man. Utilitarian, there you go. Useful for both engineering projects and dismembering rival guild members. Grut's clockwork and electric apparatuses are brutally efficient and sturdy, designed to withstand any storm or dinosaur strength impact. Oh, yes. That's cool. And so, again, these are just hints and nods to classics Heroscape, but stuff that might be happening in the future. Wouldn't you want a walking city terrain set? I know I would. Bring the walking cities to Valhalla. Do it. Do it now. That would be so cool. Anyway, okay. So Jeremy, anything to say about these? What we just read? That's cool. It's
exciting. Not only to have the background information for Grut, but we are getting into what is available from the future, because the chain Gruts, that's the one big thing about them, is that they're from the future of Grut.
There you go.
Versus the ones that Ukar summoned from the past. So it's another cool timeline representation of the difference between the two, the length of time between the two, and what exactly happened. So you kind of get to see a picture of how they've developed over the years.
And it's really cool that not only are we this is a great point, that we're getting these planets, but we're getting the full historical record of these planets, meaning that any space of time, because we get this with like the Vorids and the Isonics, like you can pull from any space and time on this particular planet, and throughout all of time, different events shape different warriors, different monstrosities or heroes in these, and that you can pull. So it's just not one static set of time. It's throughout all time of these places, which is it's so cool to cover. And just what we covered tonight, guys, look, this is worth the price of what the purchase was for this book. And we didn't even scratch the surface of it yet. It's like we've only read a few pages tonight, and that's more than worth the amount of money I paid for that. This is something. But I know that we can't go on all night. We're reaching to our 2-hour mark. That's kind of where I wanted to be for this. So we will end it for now, and this Wednesday. And I don't know how, because I know we got a TV podcast next Sunday, so it's going to take some time. Probably I might try and get some more people on to read through this. I might see if Jeremy can come on again. But I'd say, let's see here, in this month, okay, it might be this month into next month that we cover this, because I'm trying to go as rapidly as possible, but also want to take my time in this. So this is probably going to be a few streams, guys, and it might be a little bit of a wait because of other things we're doing as well in this, but definitely this Wednesday we'll cover more of this. We'll get into let's see here, Jandar. So we're going to probably start with Einar next time, and we're just going to get through this whole bit of part 1. I think that's my aim. I'm not worried about character biographies or battlefields and scenarios, because those are kind of either have been covered already, or we don't need to go that far. But definitely to try and do the first 50 pages is the goal. So yeah, so that's what we'll be this coming Wednesday. Is we'll get into Einar and then continue with Jeremy, or maybe another guest, or maybe just me. We'll see. But yeah, Jeremy, any last thoughts before we close tonight for this?
Just excited that the Lord book is finally out. We have a compilation of old and new information for all the fans to enjoy, and it's a labor of love. A lot of work went into it. The dev team and William and I, we combed over as much information as possible to get this all together for everybody. So we're really excited that everyone's getting a chance to check this out now, and kind of get that access to that information. Answering some questions that people may have had. Being able to add new questions for the future. Kind of keep you all guessing about
and the past,
and
not just the future, but the past, dude.
Yeah, lots of stuff to kind of build up that opportunity sense of figuring out what exactly will be coming out with the Secrets of the Citadel. Now that we have this foundation to base off of, so it's just really exciting to see it out there, and all that work put together and all that information in one place and accessible to the fans. Now we won't have to tell you to go to the old website. you don't have to go to the Wayback Machine anymore. You can just check out the book and get that information.
You
for
got
yourself.
the book, and you have it digital, and that's the thing when you purchase it. And again, I if anybody wants to supporting the channel is great by just watching, the watch time, the likes, the shares, the subscriptions. That is great. But if you want to get this book for yourself, I do have affiliate links below, wherever you are in the world. Affiliate links below if you want to get that pre-order or purchase anything you want. And that little get a little bit of a kickback for that if you so choose, if you haven't already. And I do appreciate anybody who can help in that way, supporting the channel. Okay, page 49. Okay, I'll go to page 49. People are saying page 49. All right. Before we head out, I'll look at page 49 because I'm being asked to do a page 49. And thank you so much, Retro Gamer, so much for the compliment. But we will see. Let's scroll down here. 49. We're beginning. We're ending at the end. Technically. Okay. I'll keep on scrolling. Scrolling. Right. All right. 49. Okay. What's great about 49 here? The Valhallan calendar. We see. And hey, hello C3BMO, good to see you. Okay, what is important here? Okay, we got the gallery, the Kiri. Do you want me? I don't have really time to read through it. So if someone wants to tell me what's the important thing about 49, we got the alphabet here, got the calendar, we got the speaking of the same language. So. The alphabet. Okay, yeah, just the alphabet. Right. Okay, so yeah, we got the alphabet there. Right. So we have our legend there for the alphabet, calendar alphabet. Okay. Yeah, so there is our this is what the alphabet looks like, 30 days in each month. And the alphabet. Okay, that's what you want to point out. All right. Yeah, perfect. So that's there as well in the lore book, so we can look up things and stuff, so that's great. Screenshot. I can't screenshot it, but someone else can if you want to, I guess. Or again, just pre-order the book and you can get it yourself. But yes, there is that as well. Anyway, all right. But guys, I do have to wrap up. So let's go back up here. And I do appreciate everybody commenting in the chat. And of course, Jeremy, again, I thank you so much for joining us tonight. And it's been a minute, so I'm glad you could join us. And I hope all is well with you, sir. Hopefully we can chat with you again in the future. And again, guys, this Wednesday we'll read more into this. We'll talk more about it. And lots to look forward to as well, like I say, in the future. And again, any support you can give this channel, I do very, very much appreciate it. And it's just more steps to getting to things that I want to do when it comes to developing my business and this channel. So I thank you for anything that you all can do. It means a lot, even if it's just watching. It's great. I appreciate it so much. So thank you all so much. And until this Wednesday, you have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, and live it. And we'll see all of you next time. Bye now. Bye-bye.